Had you had that planned out? Had you had like a business plan, or was it just kind of go with the flow?
Kind of had a business plan. Half business plan, half go with the flow. Hairdressers were really hard to find. Really, really hard to find. I think because it's such a cutthroat industry. Everybody's settled. Everybody's got their own clients, whether it be employed or self-employed. And possibly being a brand new salon as well. Nobody wanted to kind of make the jump.
Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Chatzzz, the podcast. So this is episode number 30. So we've done 30 episodes. Can't believe we've done 30 episodes. This is going to be aired in 2023. And we've got a very special guest today. She's a bit nervous.
Just a little bit.
So we've got Sian Jones. Welcome to the podcast.
Hello.
How are you today, Sian?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. We finally got you on after a few weeks or months of trying to get you on. I think your mum probably persuaded you to do it. But yeah, so what we'll do to start off with is we'll get you to introduce yourself to the watchers and the listeners. How would you introduce yourself to like a stranger or someone you meet for the first time?
I don't even know what to say.
So say if you were to meet someone like, I don't know, when you're out for the first time or whatever, that didn't know who you are, what your name is or what you did, what would you kind of say to them?
I'd probably wait for them to ask me, to be honest. No, I'll just be like, hi, how are you? And I'm Sian.
Yeah, that'll be it.
That, yeah.
Cool. So then what we would do next in the podcast is we say about the 3 facts. So you've got these prepared and ready, have you?
Yes.
So 3 facts about yourself. So what you said you're not very interesting.
Well, that's one fact, I suppose.
But I'm sure some people find it interesting.
So my 3 facts are, obviously I'm a business owner, I've got my own salon. I don't have a middle name, and my star sign is a Pisces.
Nice. So the first one, you got your own salon. We'll talk more about that later, I think. But just tell everyone how long you've had the salon and that kind of a little bit about it, maybe.
Well, we opened it last August, so August 21. Yeah, just over a year into it now. Didn't expect it to go how it was. It's obviously been better than what it was. And previous to that, I was doing all sorts of things, which we'll talk about later. But I thought, do you know what? Why not? Just open it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Cool. And the second one was, you got no middle name.
Yeah.
Why did your mum and dad not fancy giving you one of them?
Because they don't love me, I guess.
Yeah, I've got mine's Matthew, so Matthew Roberts, yeah.
Right.
And my brother's got one as well. But so a lot of people would name the daughter. Would they not have your mum's middle name?
Yeah.
Mum's first name is middle name.
No, the only child without a middle name in the family.
So your brother.
My brother and my 2 sisters have got a middle name. My dad doesn't have a middle name, so I don't know whether I'm taking after him. But yeah.
Oh, that is interesting. And then the third one is you're a Pisces.
I'm a Pisces.
So I'm a Pisces as well. So even though I asked you this before, when is your birthday? Tell me.
It's my birthday is 26th of February.
26th of February. How'd you find being a February baby?
I mean, I know no different, I guess.
That is true.
Yeah.
Being a winter month's birthdays aren't the best, are they? It's cold.
No. It is what it is, I suppose.
Yeah. All right, cool. So then how we kind of go into the podcast is we'll talk about what you were growing up, maybe your first memory when you primary school or something like that. And just really if there's anything when you were growing up where you think now maybe a bit more reflective of, oh yeah, that makes a lot of sense of why I'm who I am today and that kind of thing. So what were you growing up?
When I was younger, I was very much, I would only speak if I was spoken to, very reserved in a way. But I would say I was quite easily influenced as well, to be honest. I'll never forget, and I know this is going off track, but I'll never forget. I grew up on a council estate, and the neighbour across the road from us, his neighbour, I used to knock about with him, so his neighbour, we used to go around for sweets. And there was one day where we went round for sweets, but the door was unlocked, but nobody was in. So he just wandered himself in. But there was a can of paint outside. So he opened that. He then proceeded to paint the windows, paint the doors, paint all the couches inside. Yeah. And I was just stood there yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, I would say I don't know. I'd say that I don't really have a brain sometimes, and I just kind of go with it because I think it's a good idea because other people are doing it. Does that make sense?
Yeah. That's interesting. Why do you think that memory sticks in your head then?
Because it was so funny, because obviously we got told off, so we got sent to our rooms, but we were just stood there waving across the road to each other as well. But yeah, I think that's possibly the earliest memory that I've got.
Yeah. How old were you then, do you reckon?
I would say about 4 or 5.
Yeah, that's so funny.
Yeah, so I know it's really random, but yeah, that's the earliest memory. And yeah, I feel like I kind of go with other people in a way.
Yeah. So at school then, did you enjoy it? Did you have any like hobbies, or did you just kind of like...
I liked school.
Yeah.
And so got settled into a different school because I had to move schools in the first year. And I actually think with what happened at my first school kind of made me into what I am right now, I would say.
What do you mean by that?
The first school that I went to, it was extremely horrible actually. Very much so. So my mum pulled me out, then went to Trinity and just kind of settled in like that. Yeah, people are horrible.
Yeah, I think it is hard going through school, isn't it? Especially more so these days, I reckon, isn't it? To fit in, especially being a girl, I reckon. Like all like the pressures on social media and stuff like that. But why do you think moving schools then really like shaped you into who you are today? Would you say?
Just to not tolerate shit people, basically. Yeah, I still think it took me a good number of years, possibly even after I left Trinity, to kind of, I don't want this to sound thing, but find who you are in a way. Just to not tolerate shittiness.
I think that's what school is, though, isn't it? Like finding who you are. Because especially when I was younger, it'd be like you wanted to be cool, didn't you? You wanted to like fit in or whatever. Because that's even like when you're adults, I feel like you just want to conform and fit in. Like say, we're talking about football. Everyone supports England because you're from England, don't you? Or you support your local team or whatever. And when you're at school, if you're part of a sports team, like you're part of the football lot, aren't you? Or whatever. Or if you're a girl, like part of the hockey and stuff. Whereas I feel like if you're not part of that, then you may struggle, don't you?
To kind of fit into the norm. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's all kids want to do, isn't it? Be cool and fit in, and if you don't, then you may struggle.
Yeah.
But I don't know. So when you moved schools, then how did you find that settle into there?
I didn't. From what I remember, because I knew people in Trinity anyways through gymnastics, it didn't bother me at all. I was just glad to get out of where I was. Really. Obviously, it took time to properly settle in, but no, it was actually okay.
Yeah.
It was really okay. I thought I found a good friendship group.
Yeah.
Right away.
That's interesting because say I moved from normal school, well, year 7 to 11 to a different sixth form, and like I didn't mind my 7 to 11 one, but like when I went to the sixth form, like say I fit strings to play football with all the lads and stuff, so it was easy. Yeah. And especially when you enjoy it more and the people who you're with, that's a big thing at school, isn't it?
I think it's just trying to find people that's on your wavelength.
Yeah.
Really.
And what you're interested in too. And so you said you did gymnastics then. When did you start gymnastics, and was that like a big part of you growing up, or?
Yes, very much so. Oh, it was I want to say 3 or 4 up until I was still in secondary school. So it was a massive factor and influence. I loved it. Absolutely loved it. So I had to stop because my wrists got knackered.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What did you enjoy most about it? Because gymnastics, was it you just like on your own, or was it like more team gymnastics?
No, it was I represented Carlisle. So Carlisle Gymnastics Group. Obviously, your competitions are by yourself. But then, I don't think they had team competitions from what I remember. But yeah, I represented North of England in gymnastics as well. So went to nationals. Yeah, I just loved it. I think I liked what's the word? Joe, when kind of somebody tells you what to do.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Then you kind of exceed that as well. Pushing yourself.
Yeah.
I think that's what I liked about it.
Would you say you're very like single-minded then? Because gymnastics, I'd imagine like, I can only relate to say when I played football, it's a team sport, isn't it? Like you can have like the best players in your team, but at the end of the day, it comes down to a group effort, whereas gymnastics, it's all down to you, isn't it?
Yeah. And I am very much a perfectionist where I have to do well in what I'm doing.
Yeah. Because so with the gymnastics then, I suppose it's like if you don't perform, it's only down to you as well, isn't it? So
Yeah,
you're accountable.
definitely. Yeah.
So I suppose when you're saying maybe before that you may be easily led in like group situations when you're by yourself, very like closed-minded.
Yeah. Yeah.
I imagine it's deeper than it is, but like it's lonely, isn't it? Like it's just you. And so it's like with business now, I'd imagine even though you work in a salon, it can be quite lonely sometimes, isn't it? Like
Sometimes it can.
when you're doing like the businessy side of things.
Yeah, because it's as if, and I might be wrong here, but from my personal point of view, it's as if nobody around me kind of understands because they're not in my shoes, if you will. Again, might be wrong, but
No, I think that's definitely true. Because say when I first started out and had a business partner, we both got it because we were both in it. You know what I mean? But then when we split, and that was just me, nobody else gets it.
No.
Because they're not in it, are they? They can maybe kind of understand, but they never really truly understand, do they?
Yeah.
Because they don't understand what's going on.
No, and they don't see what goes on behind closed doors either.
No.
So
Yeah. All right. So gymnastics, and you stopped because of your wrists.
yes.
And then what, did you do anything after that, or was it just kind of
No.
no?
No,
Yeah.
I used to like go to the gym,
Yeah.
but no sports as such afterwards. But yeah, I loved PE in school. I just loved it.
Yeah.
But I think again, it's with like pushing yourself and
Yeah. So when you were going through school, then was there anything like you wanted to do or aspired to be? So there any like a specific job?
there was one point where I wanted to get into law.
Okay.
I think I'd done law in sixth form for all of a month, and I thought, no, not for me. Not for me at all. Far too much reading. I was always interested in hair. I used to always do my own and my sister's, but I never wanted to be like a bog standard hairdresser. I did have the vision of like doing celebrities, doing like magazine shoots, catwalks, this, that, and the other. Obviously, it's taken a bit of a turn in events, but you never know.
Yeah.
Never know.
So what kind of like interested you about hair then throughout? Or was it just like the natural, just kind of, I quite like doing it, I'll do mine and do my sister's hair?
I think, again, going back to gymnastics, obviously you had to have your hair perfect. I never used to just have like a bog standard bun or anything like that. It was my mum that used to put like diamonds in my hair, like make diamonds out of my hair, and then all the plaits and stuff. So it was more the creative side, I would say.
Yeah. So you say not just a normal hairdresser, more like a hairstylist, isn't
Yes.
it? You
Yeah.
like to call yourselves. So then going throughout, so you obviously went to sixth form. Was the plan ever to go to uni, or was it just get a job and say earn some money and that kind of thing?
Yeah, I honestly went to sixth form because it was kind of the done thing to do. My friends was going to sixth form, and out of a group of 12 of us, only 2 of them actually finished.
Really?
Yeah.
Why do you think that was?
Because, well, for me personally, I knew that I didn't have to be there, so I wasn't putting the effort in. Probably because I'm more of like a hands-on person rather than like writing and what have you. But yes, I got offered an apprenticeship. I think it was in December term, so I just grabbed that.
Yeah, because I think people forget, don't they, that schools get paid for like bums on seats. However many pupils they have, that's how big a budget they get. So the more pupils they have, the more money they have to spend and stuff.
Yeah.
Sad but true, isn't it? Like,
And not everybody's that way inclined. Not everybody learns that way. Some people have to physically do something. But yeah, it's just tick boxes, really.
yeah. Because, I don't know, I think like I say, like you said, I just went to sixth form because everyone else was doing it. It's a normal thing to do. I went to uni because that's what everyone else was doing, that kind of thing. Never really was, like, yeah, it was all right, but I'm never really that into it, you know what I mean? I knew that, like, exams and coursework and all that kind of stuff.
It doesn't really count for anything.
Nah. At the time, though, it's the end of the world, isn't it?
It is, yeah, because the amount of pressure that they put on you. So I think that whole curriculum needs to change.
Yeah. They don't really teach real life stuff, do they? Like bills and mortgages. And,
Or business.
yeah, like you were saying, yeah. I did business at A-level, but I don't think I learned anything. It's more like, in 1980, so-and-so did this, and it's like, whoa. It's just all like a memory test.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's all it boils down to. And I think, obviously, when you're doing exams on the day, you might be feeling off that day. So how does that represent your whole 5 years that you've been in school?
Yeah,
You
it
know,
doesn't.
it's backwards.
Especially these days when you can Google something on your phone as
Yeah.
well. Doesn't make sense. So how did you opt for this apprenticeship then? Were you actively looking, or was it just like after?
Yeah, no, I was actively looking in the summer and I didn't find anywhere with a placement. And then, yeah, a salon got in touch with me to start in December. It was actually the salon that Amy worked at. So she'd finished, I think she'd finished her apprenticeship. Then obviously they were offering a new one out.
Nice. So then what made you take that one then? Was it just literally the first one that was available, or did you do like the salon, or was it the training or whatever?
It was the first one available, but my parents knew of the woman that owned it as well. So yeah, it kind of just fit nicely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. So when you dropped out of school then, how did you do that? Because I never like dropped out of school or uni or anything. So what did you say after interested, like for me personally?
I think I just never went back. I never told everybody. Yeah, I think that's what happened.
Oh, that's such a 16, 17-year-old thing to do.
Yeah. Although I'd done the same a few years later with uni.
Yeah.
Because I took a bit of a change.
Yeah. So then when you went to do the apprenticeship, was it what you expected?
Yes and no. There's an awful lot of cleaning involved in apprenticeships.
Yeah, doing the dirty work.
Yeah. But I specifically remember my mum and dad always telling me, you've got to start at the bottom and make your way up. It's not going to be like this forever, and just stick with it. So
how does it feel when your mum and dad were telling you that?
I suppose when you've got a car and everything to run, you know, £95 a week is not a lot at all for working full time. It was hard.
Yeah.
It was really hard. It was kind of the same all day, every day. But then obviously looking back, you do have to do that to then build yourself, basically.
So then how did things progress then when you were doing the apprenticeships from there?
When did I get it? I think, was it like a 22-month course and I got it done in like 18 months or something like that. I do think it's hard in this industry because there's so much competition. But yeah, finished that, then went on to do my level 3 at a different salon.
So what's level 3 for people that...
Level 3 is just more of an advanced course. So you do more like colour corrections and different technique, this, that and the other. It's not a qualification that all hairdressers need to have, but I thought to do it myself just to kind of get a step above everybody else, really. Yeah. So yeah, I'd done that, and then I went mobile because the clients just weren't there in the salon where I was doing my level 3. Went mobile and then went to a different salon. First time properly self-employed, and I would say that that's where everything just kind of clicked, really.
So what was it like doing mobile then? I imagine that was hard work.
Mobile, you have to obviously traipse all your stuff around. So I had a little suitcase. Washing people's hairs up, sinks and baths and shit like that. Am I allowed to swear?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, my back used to absolutely kill. I used to splash colour on people's floors. Yeah. So it wasn't great, but you had to do what you had to do.
So why did you want to make the change and going into the new salon and being self-employed? Because I imagine that was a bit of a shift.
Yes. It was just, I feel like having a base for hair, it's just more ideal. You've got your team spirit, if you will. You've got people to ask and give a helping hand. It's just a different kind of atmosphere, really.
So going into the new salon and being self-employed, was that like daunting? Was he excited, or was kind of the...
It was scary. It was scary because obviously you can only make your money, you know. And again, when you've got things to pay for, it is really quite daunting. But I would say that I fit in really, really well where I was, and then things changed again.
Yeah. So had you always wanted to be like, when you wanted to be a hairdresser or a hairstylist, was it always in your mind that you wanted to be like self-employed and that kind of thing? Or okay.
Having that freedom is everything.
Yeah.
Really. I've never necessarily thought that I wanted to open my own salon, because I know the past salon owners that I've worked for have said never to do it. But yeah.
Yeah. I think that's the thing with people, when you said about that, the freedom, is that people think they want the money. They think they want like all the materialistic things, but that's not what they want. They want the freedom of to like, don't get me wrong, you can't do whatever you want whenever you want, can you? But within reason, isn't it?
Within reason,
and you can kind of go on your own schedule and that kind of thing, because money doesn't make you happy, does it? It's a freedom. It's a freedom of doing, like you say, what you want, when you want, within reason, and stuff
having
like
that choice.
Yeah. All right. So then when you went into the new salon, how did that kind of go?
It went well, really well. I think that's when I, kind of expanded, learned so many more like techniques, and like the training was really, really good, really good. Yeah, and I think that's when I kind of blew up in a way, blossomed.
Yeah. So why do you think that environment made you blossom then?
It was a very on-trend salon. I mean, it still is, but yeah, very, very popular. And the owner was very good at making sure that we are on trend, we are up to date with this, that and the other. Not just hair itself, but social media marketing. So, which obviously plays a part in building yourself as well.
So why do you think for the salon owner at the time it was so important for them to be on trend and market themselves well?
Good question. Possibly to create a brand for her business, which I understand now, and possibly just to see us doing well.
Yeah, because like you, for me, I haven't had many bosses in my life, maybe like one main one when I was working at a hotel when I was at uni. But did you find you take in like little bits from each person you worked with or each owner you worked with, and then when you obviously came to this, taking the best bits and what works for you? Because what works for them doesn't always work for you, does it? Yeah.
And also on the flip side, taking the worst bits and not having it in here. You know, because I understand from like a staff member point of view that some things that the salon owner does isn't right. You know, it's not nice for the staff, basically. So yeah, creating that kind of atmosphere, environment where it is a safe place, you know, and trying to make things into a positive. Yeah.
All right. So then, after you worked that salon, then what was the next one then? What was the next step?
So I then had a little bit of an epiphany where I thought, actually, I don't want to do hair anymore.
Loads of hairdressers seem to do that.
Yeah. And I don't know exactly why, but I thought I wanted to get into psychology to do counselling with kids in schools. So I went back to college. I then had a support working job as well as doing hair mobile. And then, I went back to college. COVID then hit, so I'm thankful that I did get the support working job, because otherwise I wouldn't have been able to work. Got into uni, lasted all of 6 months in uni, and thought, no, this is not me at all. Yeah. The less I know, the better.
So what were you doing at uni then?
I was doing psychology.
Oh, was it?
At uni.
All online as well?
All online. Oh, it was, the tutors didn't even know who we were. You know, so it wasn't, I was out, I'm moving over to Newcastle, you know, turning a new page in the book and just like starting fresh. But obviously with lockdown and everything, that didn't happen. So I was just at home in my bedroom. Yeah. Online. It was awful.
So then what made you stop that then? Was it just not for you? Like you say, school, 6 hours for you, uni wasn't for you?
No, not for me. Again, because I'm much more of a doer, writing, assignments and stuff like that. I was stressing myself out too much. And I feel like I had too much on my plate, so I just wanted to take that off.
Yeah. Especially when you overload like your brain and your head, isn't it? That's one thing you can't like switch off. No. So after you pied that off then you couldn't do the mobile hair. So then were you on furlough then for the...
No, because I had the support working job.
Oh, were you on furlough from that, or was that
no,
still doing
I
that?
Was still working.
Was you a key worker? All right.
Yeah.
Then the key worker for COVID, that must have been tough, was it?
It was very hard. Yeah, very, very hard. We supported adults with learning difficulties and mental health problems, and even that by itself is a lot. Never mind during COVID, when obviously you're not allowed out or anything like that. So we lost a few service users along the way as well, which was shit. It was a weird time. Very strange time. Hats off to people that do that full time, because
not for you.
Not for me.
Yeah. So then for that job, then how did it come about to you? You said you opened this, didn't it? You're the support worker, hair mobile. Well, you couldn't do the mobile still.
No.
You're technically still trying to do it. And then what sparked this idea?
I think because I was such at a dead end, I would say, like not really knowing what to do with my life. I was looking at other salons and knowing the people that have these salons. And I thought, if they can do it, why can't I? You know, just obviously jumping in with 2 feet and just get cracking on. So obviously a year down the line, so much happier. So much happier, and I'm so glad that I've done it.
Yeah. You got to have a certain mindset, though, to think like that, I think.
Yeah.
Not everyone has that. Not everyone would think, oh, well, I don't know what I'm doing now, so I'll open a salon. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think you've got to take the risks to benefit from them in the end. And I'm a massive believer of everything happens for a reason. So if it didn't work out, something else was for me. And if it does work out, happy days.
Yeah.
You know?
So then how did you kind of get... So obviously you had that idea. Then how did you get things in motion? Because I imagine everyone has got a good idea. Like, everyone has the best idea in the world. It's going to make them a millionaire or whatever. But it's a different thing to be an actual doer.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. I didn't have the money in mind at all. I'm not bothered about the money. It was more of a place that I can be me in, you know, do me and be me in a weird way. Just have a place where I'm not dictated by other people. I never ever thought about having like beauty or anything like that. I just wanted it to specifically be hair. But sometimes obviously plans change, don't they? And yeah, just kind of just go with the flow, really.
So then how did you come across this salon then?
So again, it was one of my dad's friends that used to have this place, and we knew that he was moving. It was a carpet shop beforehand, so we came to have a look, and as soon as I walked in the door, I just knew. I instantly knew. Think, had we been to look at one beforehand? It was around the corner by the Threadbare Carpets, but the letting agents or whoever it was, they didn't even turn up. So then we came down here just for a little nosy, and yeah, it just had a real nice feel to it.
Yeah.
A real nice feel to it. So yeah, I just instantly knew. And then got in touch with the landlord and just went from there, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got the keys at the start of a month. I can't remember what month it was. Must have been June time. No, it must have been July. And then opened in August. So it was 4 weeks exactly that we'd done and everything.
So that must have been busy. Did you do most of it yourself, or did you get someone to help you?
Yeah, well, I mean, I ripped up all the flooring, I painted everywhere. Dad and my man helped me out a hell of a lot. A hell of a lot. But apart from the major works, like the plumbing and the electrics, it was pretty much just all us.
I think it's important, isn't it, to have a supportive family, isn't
Yes,
it? When you're trying to do that, especially when you're young. I've been lucky in that sense. But so it took 4 weeks to transform this place.
4 weeks, yeah.
Did you have that vision in your mind then? Was it exactly what you wanted, or was it a few tweaks and stuff? I know
yes,
it's never done though, I'd imagine.
No, because we're constantly changing things even now. Yes and no, I knew obviously what colour scheme and everything to go to. But yeah, like I say, I think because I wasn't thinking about like nails or lashes or anything like that, I didn't make time to adapt my ideas to fit them in, if that makes sense. Yeah, but like I say, everything's changing along the way. I mean, I'm gonna redo the place again come Christmas. So yeah, which I like, which again you have the freedom to do.
Yeah, I think it's important to be open to change, as well, isn't it? Not to be like set in your ways, like, oh, this is the way it should be, and like say keep on trend and stuff, so you can. Yeah. Because I feel like, I don't know because I don't go to salons, but say if it's like, oh, Salon Bar just had a massive refurb. It's a new salon, whatever. They'll go and try it, won't they? Because they'll be like, oh yeah, that kind of thing. So you want to keep up with that stuff, which is good. So you obviously spoke to the landlord, you got the keys and stuff, you transformed it. But like, when did it feel real? Did it feel real until the first day you opened?
It still doesn't feel real now.
Yeah, I was going to say.
No, it doesn't. I think when you're in the mix of everything, you don't, I don't know, you don't realise until you kind of step out, reflect on what's happened, and then come back in. It's like, shit, yeah, this is mine, we've done this kind of thing. But yeah, sometimes it still doesn't feel real at all, which is bizarre.
So then, can you remember the first day you opened then?
Yes.
So was it just you?
Yes.
Yeah.
It was me.
What was that feeling?
It was strange. I think because it's such a big open space, and obviously I'm such a little person. It was quite odd and bizarre. But yeah, things just progressed and progressed and progressed, and then all of a sudden it's full.
So how's it gone so far then, from just you on your own to obviously getting other people in, like nails, lashes, and other hair people?
In what way?
Just like, when did you think, oh, I'm going to advertise for another hairstylist or nail or whatever? Had you had that planned out? Had you had like a business plan, or was it just kind of go with the flow?
Kind of had a business plan. Half business plan, half go with the flow. Hairdressers were really hard to find. Really, really hard to find. I think because it's such a cutthroat industry, everybody's settled, everybody's got their own clients, whether it be employed or self-employed, and possibly being a brand new salon as well. Nobody wanted to kind of make the jump. So yeah, that's why we then opted for like lashes and nails and what have you. And then I like the idea of having everything under one roof, you know, one-stop shop, because I don't feel like many salons are like that. I like to be different.
So no one else in the area, would you say?
Not with everything, I don't think. Obviously, at one point we had aesthetics, which I like because obviously, again, it's something different to offer.
Yeah.
You know, if somebody wants to go out, they can get the nails done, can get the lashes done, get the hair done, get the makeup done now. You know, I want that kind of empire in a way.
Yeah.
Really.
Because, like you say, it makes sense when I'm going to go and get everything done in one place, rather than I'm going to go here, I'm going to go there, I'm going to go there. And especially in Carlisle as well, Carlisle is behind the times, isn't it?
Yes.
So if you can be the first one to do it, then be ahead of the game, isn't it? So then, after so what was in this business plan then that you had? You said, remember, it doesn't have to be exact word for word, but said you had a bit of a plan, didn't you?
Yeah, bit of a plan.
What was the plan?
Where it was all hairdressers, basically.
Okay.
And yeah, just to kind of build yourself up that way. But like I say, obviously it was so hard to find hairdressers that it just went on a different route, which I'm absolutely fine with.
Yeah. Because some people may have been like, oh, I can't get any hairdressers, I've failed in the first few months, isn't it? But like you say, you've just got to adapt to where you think's going to be best and where money will be as well. So then, after the first few months, and how would you say you thought it was going then? Obviously, adapting the strategy. Yeah.
I only had a handful of clients to begin with. So there was days where I didn't have anybody in, you know. But I don't know what clicked when all of a sudden it was just a splurge of people. I don't know whether it was because of social media, possibly being seen on the shop floor with the cars driving past, or even just simple word of mouth. I can't pinpoint a time or anything that's actually happened where it's just totally fell into place and just blown up.
Yeah. Would you say you always wanted to have your own business then?
No, at all.
That's interesting, yeah.
Yeah.
Because like you say, you said you wanted to be self-employed as a hairdresser, didn't you? But I'd imagine it's very different, isn't it? Like when you're working in your hairstylist role, and then you have to do the business role as well, isn't it?
As well. I'm thankful, very, very, very grateful for my mum for business side. Yeah, again, learning along the way, business-wise, because you do not get taught anything business when you're training.
No.
And I think that's wrong.
Yeah. Even like being I get taught like how to be self-employed, like doing your own books and stuff. No. That's crazy. It's not in the apprenticeship, isn't it?
Yeah.
So with the, going backtrack, but with the apprenticeship then, was that apprenticeship to being like an employed role?
No,
that was to be self-employed role.
To be self-employed.
That doesn't make any sense, does it?
So, because I've never thought about it like that.
You're being trained up to be a self-employed hairdresser, and you're not being trained any of the self-employed stuff.
No, I never thought about it like that. But yeah, the thing was, in the first ever salon, again, Amy will tell you the same, you were qualified. As soon as you were qualified, you had to go self-employed.
It's mad, that, isn't it?
And when you're not actually allowed to do clients all day, every day, being an apprentice, you're just getting completely thrown into the deep end. And that's why salons just keep going through apprentices. It's a cheap cleaner.
Yeah.
Basically.
How did you find building up clientele then? throughout the years? Was it
Difficult.
or
Very difficult. It does take years to build up clientele. I think with me, I think you've got to know people, and you do have to be shit hot on your social media, and you do have to bend over backwards to talk.
Yeah, it's always the case, isn't it? I think.
Yeah.
But if there's any tips and tricks, what would you say would be the most important thing to building up a clientele then? Anybody that's an aspiring or an up-and-coming hairdresser?
Be consistent. Even if you're having a shitty day, just put on a brave face, do your absolute best. You just have to make the client feel special, basically. So I feel like clients want that, clients need that. And try being a bit different.
Yeah.
And remembering little things as well. Clients love to know that you're interested in the life.
Yeah. Oh, 100%, yeah. And I imagine girls or women, like, they're a walking advert for you, isn't it?
Yes.
If they get the hair done and the friend says, oh my God, your hair looks amazing, where did you get that done? Say, oh, Sian, whatever. And then they'll be like, oh, I'll go try her out and that kind of thing. That's the most powerful way of marketing,
very
isn't
much
it?
So.
Than like doing a video or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, anyone can do a video, can't they? But not everyone can have that trust with you, your friend, and that kind of thing. And when you say about being different, like, if everyone was the same, it would be boring, wouldn't it? Then everyone would be the same. But there's obviously little things that people would go to you over somebody else over.
But everybody, that's the thing with hairdressing. Everybody's got their own ways. It's not just a bog standard thing. Everybody's got their own, whether it be techniques or how they treat people. Yeah, everybody's got their own thing and the way to do.
Yeah. So going back to the businessy side, so how do you find being a business owner or a salon owner?
I like it.
Yeah.
I do really, really like it. Again, going back to having that freedom, but I just wish you could just flick a switch and your burden would be off.
Yeah.
It can be difficult.
Yeah. I think that's what everyone says that I get on the podcast that's got their own business is like, they can't switch off, isn't it? Because there's always stuff to do.
Constantly.
Like, even if you feel like, oh yeah, I've done all my tasks for the day, you'll be thinking, oh well, could do that for tomorrow, or that tomorrow needs done, or whatever, or that person next week, and that's the thing that I feel like people don't get unless
they're in it.
Yeah. Which is hard, but
I think as well, being obviously a business owner, you're so busy focusing on the future, how to develop, how to better yourself and the business itself, that you actually forget about now, about today, what you're kind of doing now. Whereas every day is you step towards your image or whatever in the future. Yeah, it's a strange one. Again, going back to not being trained in a business from like your apprenticeship thing. You don't know how to manage people.
That's the most difficult thing, isn't it? Clients as well as team members.
Yes. Yeah. Obviously, there's different personalities within team, and it's knowing how to adapt to kind of confront that in a way. I would say that for me is the most difficult part. If it was just me by myself, absolutely fine. You know, I can focus. I can focus on myself and do whatever. But with different, like I said, personalities in like the staff, it's quite hard to manage when I've never actually done it before.
Yeah. Learning on the job, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like you say, that you may have one management style for one person and one for the other.
Yeah.
And then same with clients, you have one client style for one and one for the other and stuff. And it's just working out what ticks, what makes people tick, isn't it?
Yep.
And like say, they may be one thing, or with Julie maybe it's something else, and that kind of thing. And that is one thing that it's experience, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh no, 100%. Yeah. So that's why I try not to get myself down about it too much, because I know that if anything happens, I'll be taking note of that and adapting it if needs be for future reference.
Because we spoke about this the other day, but would you say you're more self-reflective these days then? Do you more reflect on situations in your life and the business and that kind of thing more recently?
Yeah.
Why do you think you got more into that then?
More so because I'm an overthinker. But yeah, I think it's important to self-reflect, to then change yourself if need to be, or change the situation in the future. Handle it better, handle it differently, and grow from that. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I feel like, not everyone, that's a lie. More people when they get older do self-reflect, don't they? Or reflect on maybe like the younger self. Like I was saying to you, the first question is, now you're older, had you reflect on any situation when you're growing up that think, oh, that makes sense to why I'm like I am today and stuff like that? And I'm guilty of it. Like, I'm thinking of like, oh, I need to do after this, and then I've got my week and stuff, and you don't think, like, you think, oh, I need my next goal to hit. Whereas if you look where you were this time last year, you think, oh, fucking hell, I've achieved quite a bit there.
Yeah.
So if you were to self-reflect on this podcast, look at yourself a year ago, what would you say you've achieved then in the last year?
A hell of a lot.
Yeah, reel something off.
Well, the business as a whole, I think I've grown up as well, because I moved out with my friend, which meant that I had to grow up. But yeah, I don't know, I think sometimes you don't give yourself enough credit. Really. But yeah, apart from the business, and I'd say...
What about the business though? Is it like having X amount of team members, or growing your client base, or building reputation, or...
Bit of everything. Yeah, I didn't expect it, and I don't mean to sound like I'm tooting my horn.
You need to. This is your podcast. Yeah. and that's another thing. I feel like men, when I get men on the podcast, they're happy to say like, oh, I've done this, I've earned this money, I've done that. Whereas women are more like, oh, they feel like they can't sing their own praises where credit's due, you know what I mean? I don't know, that's just my opinion of what I've experienced on this podcast, but like, go for it, you know what I mean?
I wonder why that is.
I think it's just this norm in society, isn't it? I don't know. It's weird. I don't know what the answer is to that, but that's just what I've experienced, and I feel like. But yeah,
greatest achievements. See, obviously business for one, but within the business, it's still learning, it's still having the education, still adapting to the management role, this, that and the other. Growing up, just being more mature, and I will say more selfish as well, to be honest, because you can't please everybody, which obviously I've learned over the years, whether it be relationships, friendships, or work-wise. Yeah, I don't really know what else I've achieved.
You've got to be selfish though, haven't you? Yeah. Like, that's the first thing I said to my girlfriend now when we started speaking. I said, I'm a selfish person. But like, that's like, if I want to do something, I'll do it and not let anybody else tell me what to do.
Yeah.
Whereas on the other hand, like, if one of my friends or girlfriend asks me to do anything, I'll 100% go out my way and do whatever they want. But that doesn't mean that I'm not a selfish person, but I can be very selfless at the same time.
Yes. Yeah.
It's just like, when you hear the word selfish, you think, oh, all you care about is yourself. But it's not, is it?
No.
It's just caring about yourself, which is probably one of the most important things in the world to make yourself happy.
You can only rely on yourself. And I know that's very deep and some would say a bit of a shit comment, but you've literally only got yourself to rely on.
And like, I know you say your mum helps you out a lot, but that's the other thing about that I've found in my own business is nobody else gives a fuck. You know what I mean? They say they do, which maybe they do, but when it comes down to it, they don't. Which is nothing bad on them at all, I don't think, but it's just the truth from the situation where that's why we go back to it's lonely, isn't it? Like sometimes where you're having a shit day or a shit week and you're like, oh, fucking hell, nobody cares, nobody gets it, but then you've got to be positive and you know that it's going to be better.
But yeah, that's it. It's all about switching the negative into a positive and growing.
And that's probably your own mental health battle in your head, isn't it?
Yes.
You not actually don't have any mental health issues, whatever, but it is a mental battle in your head all the time.
Yeah.
So what's next for the salon then? You say you're going to get a refurb and stuff. What's in the next plan?
What's in the next plan?
Or the next wing?
I just kind of go with the flow. Yeah. I'm trying not to think about things too much because it then just gets very, very overwhelming and then nothing happens. So yeah, I'm just kind of going with the flow, seeing what happens. Obviously, it's going to be nice and fresh for New Year's. Yeah. Just whatever happens.
Yeah, it's interesting.
And I know that's not possibly the done way to do it, but yeah, I feel like if you overthink it, then it doesn't get done.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, because you could be too caught up on like, oh, I want to do this by December, this by January, this by February and stuff. And it is a bit like, if you don't achieve that, it's like, oh, why not? But you're not in a rush.
No, that's it.
And I feel like some people, if they say they, I don't know, don't want to get married by a certain age or they want to achieve this in the business by a certain age, they get too hung up on that to think, like you say, just go with the flow and just see what happens and just trust yourself to achieve what you're going to achieve in that. Whereas, I don't know, it's a funny one. So what we'll do next is biggest regret or biggest mistake, either in your personal life or your business life. You can do either or both. It's entirely up to you. Yeah, I've prepped you for this as well. What are you going to do? Are you going to do personal, business, or both? Or
I guess it kind of falls into both parties. Trying to, how should I word it? Trying to please people, you know, that's without focusing on yourself as well. Focusing on different people, on other people, which takes you away from yourself. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But how would you say you learned from that then? What was the mistake or the regret that happened to kind of make you realise? It may not be one thing, it may be a
mix of things.
Yeah, or just time. You know what I mean?
I think it was time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think growing up as well, like for me, growing up, you realise you got a finite amount of time to spend leisurely, maybe, whatever you want to call it. Like say if you're working all day, all night and stuff, and you've only got a select few people to spend your time with, you need to be more selective, don't you?
Yeah.
But what would you say for you? What made you realise that? Is this in your self-reflecting sessions?
I think it was in lockdown. I do. Where something just kind of clicked and it's like, no, it's just me. It's just me here. Why bother going out your way for people who don't appreciate your time and effort when you're not okay in yourself? So focus on yourself to make yourself feel better, which then can reflect and radiate onto everybody else. Yeah. Yeah,
that energy is powerful, I think, isn't it?
Yes.
Because like if you spend your time like doing what other people want you to do or whatever and trying to please them, you're not happy in yourself.
No. And I feel like giving your energy to other people where it's not necessarily appreciated, you're then drained. You're absolutely drained.
Yeah, 'cause it's not what you want to do or what you enjoy.
Nope.
Yeah.
So I do think, and I know again, might be a bit too deep, but your happiness starts with you. It's not seeing other people happy if you're not happy in yourself or trying to make other people happy. It starts with yourself, you know, and then that energy is then radiated. Radiated? Is that the right word?
I think so, yeah. Makes sense. But yeah, like I completely get that, because especially if you stop trying to do people pleasing stuff or what, say your friends or your family or whoever want you to do, maybe initially they'll be like, oh, what the fuck? Why are you doing that? Like say when I stopped drinking, like whenever it was, over 2 years ago now, everyone was like, oh, let's have a drink or go on, it'll be boring or whatever. People still say it now. And it's like, I could do that and give into peer pressure, but I'll be pleasing someone, I'll be miserable myself. Not that it's miserable making me drink alcohol and stuff, but it's like people respect you more for doing what you want to do and having that, I don't know, willpower or self-discipline.
And I do think it boils down to self-worth as well, actually. Realising what you're worth, what you want in life, and because
that's the way I feel like you get more respect of people by saying no as well. If you're constantly saying yes, like say the other week one of my friends asked me to do something and I maybe didn't want to do it ideally, but I didn't mind doing it. It was to help him out and stuff, because I was like, I wanted to help him out, that kind of thing. Whereas he was like, oh, you shouldn't do that, whatever. I was like, I wanted to do that to help him out because that's fine. But if I didn't want to do that, it'd have been like, all right, sound. It's just like choosing who you say yes to and who you say no to.
And who you put your time into, who you use your energy with, and
because that makes you happier in the long run, doesn't it?
Of course it does. Yeah.
So, all right, cool. That was a good way to end the podcast. So, is there anything you want to say, any closing thoughts, anyone, any advice you want to give to someone who wants to be a hairdresser, hairstylist, salon owner, business owner? Because I don't get that many girls and women on. So, any advice to anybody that may be? I put you on the spot. Yeah, I didn't prep you for this.
Any advice?
Or something you wish you knew when you were starting out that you know now?
I think to take some kind of course in how to manage a business. I think that would have benefited myself personally. How to manage a business. And see, with me, again, I just kind of go with the flow. Learn along the way, which is experience, but possibly to make something that little bit better, to have that background information with you, whether you are just by yourself or you're aiming to have a full team. I do think it's important to have that education, really. Otherwise, you might burn the candle at both ends. That's all I'm going to say.
That's a good piece of advice.
Yeah.
And then we can plug all the social medias and stuff now.
Come on.
Plug all the social medias.
What's that mean?
So it's like tell everyone where to find you and follow you and stuff.
Okay. But
Wasn't a trick question.
On social media, like here.
Wherever. You can say location, you can say Instagram, Facebook, whatever.
So we are located on 12 Dixon Street in Carlisle. Our Instagram is salonvibe_Carlisle. And then same on Facebook as well. Salon Vibe.
Yeah, cool. Right, go and follow and stuff like that. Have you enjoyed the podcast?
Yeah, actually.
Yeah,
quite
good.
Pleasantly surprised.
Just under an hour, but thank you very much for coming on. I really enjoyed that. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure to subscribe, leave a comment. If you've got any questions for Sian or comment any future guests, make sure to like the video as well. If you're listening on Apple or Spotify, make sure to follow and leave a 5-star review. And we'll see you next time. Bye, 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 bye.